All right. Well, over at Warner Brothers and DC, James Gunn ran the show, as he's been known to do. While the filmmaker shared an extensive sneak peek at his upcoming Superman, which was released online the next day, he also revealed that circa 2018, he was approached to direct a Henry Cavill-led Superman film for the DCEU, but opted to direct Suicide Squad instead. On the subject of James Gunn's Superman, Nathan Fillion, who portrays Green Lantern Guy Gardner in the film, was announced to be reprising the part in HBO's upcoming Lantern series.
Lots from James, as ever, as ever. I will start with the Henry Cavill-led Superman film. It doesn't surprise me that he would turn that down to do something that he can make his own more than picking up the pieces from Zack Snyder's films, which is what Henry Cavill would have been for another director. This is something he would have walked into and not been able to kind of whole cloth create or change, especially with the aesthetic and the tone of those films that was set by Zack Snyder. Suicide Squad, you can do that with because nobody's expecting a certain thing from
Release
Squad
the
except for
haircut.
except for like all of them to die, right? And so I think it's interesting that he said that, but I get it from his perspective and the kind of director he is. I think it makes a lot of sense. I did watch the clip. It's an extended clip of Crypto taking Superman into his Fortress of Solitude, and so it was good. It continued that heartstrings thread that we had when we first watched the trailer. Like we all had an emotional response to that. I didn't have an emotional response to this extra footage, but you get a sense of, these automatons that are helping take care of Superman. You already like connect with them, even though they're like, you don't need to connect with us. We're robots. We're just here to do our job, which is very funny. And then, of course, it showed the rest of the trailer footage that we've already seen. I don't think that anything new was shown after that, but I love Crypto, and I I love that he at first thinks Superman wants to play, even though he's like laying broken in the snow. Like it's very funny. It's very James Gunn. There's something very James Gunn about it, and so I loved that. And then the Guy Gardner stuff, I think we kind of knew this was coming. I think we speculated or maybe we'd heard about this already, but it makes sense for Guy Gardner to be in Lanterns as some kind of antagonist, whether that's a cameo or an extended role, but we'll see that haircut again.
That we will. Yeah, I'll pick up there because other than the casting that we've been talking about, like John Stewart Sr., as well as Jason Ritter joining the cast, the last time we really talked about Lanterns, I feel like, was James once again kind of saying, oh, this is completely separate from the rest of the universe. And I think it was at that point where we said, well, let's see. Let's not hold our breath. Let's see who pops up in that or not. And certainly it makes a lot of sense for Nathan Fillion to show up. So that excites me. Lanterns has remained one of the things I'm the most excited for. So to know that it is going to have that connection, that feels right to me. As far as the Superman sneak peek goes, I was really glad that they released the footage. When I first started seeing that they revealed footage and that there were some descriptions out there, I was like, okay, maybe I'll just wait for a trailer. I don't even need to read these descriptions. And I will let you know if you're, traversing the interwebs, tread lightly, because there are leaks out there as well that were kind of, they came out like almost coinciding with this footage. But I agree with what you brought up, Haley. I just found myself like with a big fat smile on my face, and I would just describe the footage as delightfully endearing. It just feels like it really is a throwback to the Silver Age of comics, which was not really what we're used to seeing on the big screen these days. But I think it's time for a palette change and a style change, and Superman is the character to herald that new age. So my excitement continues to ramp up. James is one of those guys. He says a lot of things that perplex us and frustrate us, but I do have a lot of faith and confidence in his ability as a filmmaker.
Yeah, the more I see of Superman, the more I just am convinced that it is going to be the movie of the summer. Like, I think it's going to be huge. I think people are already talking about it. It leans into what he has said all along about it, which is something I love about the vision that we're seeing through these trailers, is he talked a lot about he's a superhero. He doesn't need to be ultra serious, and he's not taking a shot at Zack Snyder. But if you kind of compare it to Zack Snyder and you compare it to that very serious, very like gods in the sky type style of superhero genre, with what James Gunn has actively been trying to do with Superman, which is, this is a guy, he's got trunks, he's, this supposedly like super good-hearted person despite having all the power in the world. He's not corrupted. There's some goofy characters that kind of fly in, and we just acknowledge that they're kind of goofy, and he has a dog that can fly and things like that. Like, this movie's not afraid of any of that. It seems to be leaning into that, and it's, to me, that's what makes it so anticipated and so interesting, is that it is a change in vision, a change of direction. It's bright, it's not dark, it's not, you're not walking away kind of feeling like, well, is Superman a good guy or a bad guy for these choices he made or whatever. You're just kind of like having an enjoyable experience at the cinema with a superhero movie kind of in the way it was originally intended to be on some level. So I think we've talked a lot about, it's July, it's coming out at the same time as Fantastic Four and Jurassic World. Man, you stack those three movies up against one another, like, I'm starting to be more convinced that maybe Superman's going to be the one that rakes in the most. Like, I think it's different. And it's not a shot at Marvel. It's not a shot at Jurassic. It's just a rising tide can lift all boats in this scenario. But I'm just convinced that this movie seems like the outlier. It seems like it's starting to gain a lot of momentum. The cast seems pumped about it. They're always coming out, and there was Nicholas Hoult was there, and David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan were all on stage. They were having a great time. Like, the press tour is going to be really fun for this whenever it happens, and I'm excited for summer movies. Like, I think, and that's kind of the point of CinemaCon, and we'll keep talking about it here, but the point is to try to hype up theaters and to try to get people excited about the movie theater experience. And I feel like Superman specifically wants to do that. Like, that's part of its vision, is to try to bring a cinema experience to the people. So, yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm convinced every time I see more of it that it is what I think it is.
Before we move on from Warner Brothers and DC entirely, I think it is noteworthy that we didn't get any kind of update on the Batman 2, as far as I'm aware, which is, not surprising, but a little disappointing. And then I was kind of holding my breath waiting to see if we were going to get anything on Dune Messiah, and I don't think we did, but it wasn't a part of CinemaCon, but I did want to mention, it was pretty early on in the week, but Jason Momoa basically came out and said, I'm going to be in the third movie. So if you've read the books and you know anything about that, you kind of already know how that's possible. If not, you're in store for how the Dune series gets a little more wild and out there. So look forward to that.
He was really bald-faced about it, too. He was like, it's not my fault. If you haven't read the books, it's not my fault.
That's right.
Like, okay, Jason.
Blame Frank Herbert.